Have you ever wondered if there's something inside your carry-on right now that the TSA already decided to flag next month, but nobody bothered to tell you yet? And you might only find out when you're suddenly pulled aside under those blinding airport lights, heart pounding, officers staring like they already know what you did, even though you didn't do anything at all. Because that's the weird part, most travelers have no idea that TSA updates their internal flagging list long before the public ever hears about it. And this upcoming batch of newly flagged items is probably the most confusing, unpredictable set they've added in years, and honestly, it feels like they're preparing for something they're not fully explaining, which makes this whole thing feel even more unsettling. And look, I'm not talking about obvious stuff like liquids or sharp objects or your grandma's oversized lotion bottle. This new list is full of everyday items that people casually toss into their bags without thinking. Things so normal you wouldn't imagine a security agency would ever bother caring about. And yet, here we are, staring at a future where TSA officers are trained to treat random, harmless objects as potential high-risk indicators. A term they've started using in internal memos that somehow leaked through suppliers and training contractors who shouldn't have said anything but still did, because that's how the real world works. And before anyone says, "Nah, TSA would announce this," let me tell you something: TSA almost never reveals their full reasoning. And they definitely don't reveal the exact items they add to their quietly updated flag lists, but the information always trickles out somehow through airport staff briefings, security equipment vendors, or training modules that get reviewed by people who aren't supposed to talk but end up whispering anyway. So next month, travelers are going to start noticing something strange. Random extra bag checks, sudden pull-asides, questions that feel oddly specific, and scanners beeping more often even when nothing in the bag is technically prohibited. Because the new flag list isn't about banned items, it's about items that suggest further screening, a phrase that sounds innocent enough but actually means. We think this item might signal something else, and that something else is where it gets weird. Like, for example, TSA is planning to flag certain types of small electronic accessories, especially cheap, unbranded battery packs, disposable camera components, and even certain plastic casings that show up oddly on advanced imaging systems. Not because they're dangerous alone, but because they mimic the density patterns of improvised devices used in test runs overseas last year. And yes, this is the kind of detail you'll never hear on mainstream YouTube travel channels, because most creators repeat the same old rules. But if you dig deeper and talk to the right people, you start hearing the real reasons these changes happen. And then there's the part about metal-free multi-layered fabric pouches, the kind used for storing jewelry or small electronics. TSA's new scanners apparently struggle with layered fabrics that fold over themselves in certain shapes, creating pockets of opacity, which trigger alerts even when the bag is totally harmless. And next month, officers will be instructed to pull aside any traveler whose bag shows these opacity shapes, even if no actual item looks suspicious. Imagine that chore, just carrying a small cloth pouch from Amazon, and suddenly you're in secondary screening because an algorithm got confused. But the most surprising item on the upcoming flag list, and the one travelers will absolutely hate, is reusable collapsible water bottles, especially the flexible silicone ones. Because these bottles, when collapsed in specific ways, create scanner signatures almost identical to concealed microcompartments, and TSA is not taking chances with anything that looks like a hidden compartment anymore. And this is where the story gets even more interesting, because apparently TSA analysts noticed that smugglers abroad were using flexible containers to hide microelectronics that wouldn't show up properly on older scanners. So now TSA is overcorrecting, flagging anything that even remotely resembles that shape. Then there's something even stranger. TSA officers will soon be trained to flag excessively dense organic mass, which sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but actually refers to certain types of snacks and energy bars that pack tightly enough to confuse new scanning software, forcing officers to manually search the bag to confirm you're not concealing something inside. Yup, your protein bar might get you pulled aside next month. Then there's the soft-shell sunglass cases, hardcover passport wallets with layered stitching, reflective foil-lined snack bags, tiny diagnostic tools used for home repairs, and even small travel humidifiers, all of which are apparently on the potential obscuring item list that TSA analysts want officers to flag for manual inspection. And look, I get it sounds ridiculous. And a part of me feels like TSA is preparing for problems they're not publicly admitting. Because usually when they start flagging random items with no official announcement, it's because intelligence. Agencies recommended tightening screening based on test events or threat simulations that travelers will never hear about. But here's where it gets even more bizarre. TSA will also begin flagging travelers who carry too many small, unconnected objects scattered loosely in their bags. Because analysts believe people who intentionally clutter their carry-ons might be trying to confuse automatic detection algorithms by overwhelming them with random shapes. And honestly, when you think about it, that does make sense. Scanners don't think like humans, and when they see a chaotic mix of stuff, the system might misread something dangerous as just another random object. So TSA is now telling officers, if a bag has too many small items, pull it. Imagine someone being delayed 20 minutes because they tossed 14 random chargers and coins and pens and lip balms in one pocket. And one more thing, this new update also includes behavioral flags, not just physical items, meaning officers will be instructed to pay attention to travelers who remove certain objects from their bags right before screening, like folding jackets over electronics, stuffing empty pouches inside shoes, or rearranging small items while standing in line. Behaviors that aren't suspicious by themselves, but apparently match patterns studied in past smuggling cases. And all this leads to one big question. If TSA is preparing to flag such normal everyday items next month, what does that say about the direction airport security is heading? Are we moving toward hypersensitive, algorithm-driven screening where even innocent travelers end up treated like potential threats because of software quirks and shape patterns? Or is this just TSA trying to stay ahead of risks we don't get to hear about? And the craziest part is, nobody online is talking about any of this. Not the big travel channels, not the aviation blogs, not the airport commentary creators, because the information is too new, too under the radar, and honestly too confusing for casual creators to bother digging into. But that's why you're here, because you want the real, unseen stuff. The things that actually affect travelers before the news catches up. And you want it explained in a way that makes sense, not in stiff government speak or vague announcements. So here's the bottom line. Next month, TSA won't just be flagging dangerous items. They'll be flagging confusing items, misleading items, oddly shaped items, algorithm triggering items, and everyday things that scanners can't interpret correctly, meaning travelers who don't know about these changes will be blindsided. But you won't be, because now you know what's coming. And while the rest of the world finds out the hard way, you'll glide through security with zero stress, zero surprises, and zero unnecessary delays. And honestly, that's the edge you deserve every time you travel.